in nines.
And now this statue made of wood.
Yeah, they're keeping to some traditional things. The woman is wearing a bokha,
Yeah.
the married woman's headdress. Um,
Which one is it, Pete?
the one on the right, the
Oh.
extreme right, is a woman,
Mhm.
an angry woman, I might say, but still.
Because she's married.
Yeah, well, that's probably why. There's a famous book by an English woman who rode up to Urga, which is the old name of Ulaanbaatar, in 1911, and took a camera with her. And she met lots of people in what was the last phase of traditional Mongolian society. And she said, uh, the young women were very friendly and outgoing and everything like that. And nobody criticized them for being, flirtatious and whatever. As soon as they got married, they changed and
Yeah.
they became incredibly supportive of their husbands. And obviously, they divided tasks, and the woman managed certain parts of she managed the home and she managed certain herding animals. The husband did other things.
Mm.
Um, the Generally speaking, I think the women milked the mares. Um, I think the goats were milked, sheep were milked, mares were milked. I think they milk camels as well. There's somewhere in Australia where they're milking camels now to produce camel milk. I have never tasted it, so I don't know what it's like. But clearly, mammals make milk, and ungulates in general seem to make more milk than they need.
Yes.
But these are nice sculptures because they've taken advantage of the shape of the tree trunk as well.
Yes.
It's an interesting point that stone sculptures, vaguely like this, called in Turkish balbal, were put up um, at the tombs of famous people. Like there's a surviving one from one of the first Turkish Kagans,
Mm.
and they're inscribed in old Turkish, saying this is
Mm.
Kultegin or whomever the things are.
Mm.
So it's an old. It goes back probably to the Xiongnu, so maybe back 200 BCE.
Mm.
This idea of building these kind of cylindrical. I mean, they're not no arms out in the air or anything like that. It's kind of cylindrical looking,
Yes.
and it's a really old tradition, and
Yes.
it's really nice to see that it's being, still being done.
Yes. And look at the guy on the left side. He has a shield and a sword.
Yeah, yeah. The some of the earlier ones, like seventh, eighth century ones, often have little bow cases as well and little quivers carved into the stone ones I'm talking about. Because obviously wood ones were being made back then, but the stone ones survived and the wood ones didn't.
Yeah.
Um,
Pete,
but
do you remember from the museum in Mongolia, we saw the helmet, and one of them
Yeah,
looked like this one. Do you remember?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, again, helmets. See, there's a woman on the left. I think, yeah, the middle one is also a woman because I'm looking at the hat,
Yes.
and the hat is a very distinct. See, up until they got married, women and men dressed very similarly,
Mm.
and this is in old Mongolian society. When they got married, women started wearing outer clothes that was slightly different, um, and obviously ornaments were different, things like that. But if you look at, say, in the Dietz album, which is a collection of Ilkhanid paintings from Iran of Mongols, for Mongols, there'll be court scenes and there'll be a whole group of people, and you cannot tell whether they're men or women. It's only because they're standing next to the queen that you know they're women. Sometimes they have embroidered cuffs and embroidered collars, which men rarely have in those paintings at that time. So this is 1340 or something like that, 1330, 1340. So a long time ago. But
Yes.
this was true, and to some extent still is true in Mongolia,
Yes.
that Dells are not particularly focused on which sex or which gender the person who wears them are. They're all basically the same. It's like in the West, you have close the button left over righter for women and right over lefter for men. But if you look at this, the robes all go from left over right because that was the tradition, and men and women wore the same thing.
Oh, yes. So yeah,
Medieval European travellers to Mongolia were outraged at this clear um, assault on the basic nature of men and women. But women in Mongolia, even though they were technically second-class citizens, because all patriarchal societies treat women as lesser people, gave them a lot more responsibility and recognition. And if you look at the Altan Tobshi, which is one of the Mongolian language histories of the Mongols from the 1660s or something, there are so many queens and powerful women in it compared to, say, I mean, funnily enough, Iran does have in the earlier days more recognition of the potential of women. Though whether or not Zoroastrianism was very strictly family hierarchical, so husband, wife, children kind of structure. But I don't know. The closer to the Middle East, like, and I'm talking about in early times, like when Canaan existed, when the Hittites existed, whatever, and the ancient Greeks, women were not even second-class citizens. They were about third-class citizens. So in ancient Greece, women, well, particularly Athens, women were secluded once they were married. Sparta gave them more rights, like the right to inherit property, which didn't exist even in England until I think the late 1700s. Like, I don't know the times of emancipation. So it's at some levels a freer society, at other levels not. It was an aristocratic society, the old Mongolian state. You couldn't be a Khan unless you were a member of the Borjigin family. So that means that you were related to Chengiz. You could run the country. Esen Taishi, who we talked about in the last video.
Yes.
But because he wasn't a member of the right clan, he could never be Great Khan.
Yeah.
So it was fairly. I mean, we think of them free and easy, but that's fairly strict society in terms of ranks in the society. Even if you're poor, if you're a member of one of the important families, you were given respect. And the other thing that we don't think of, because it's not a thing in modern society, where you sat in the ger was strictly regulated by your family relationships, your age, and if you were like a guest, you sat in a certain place on one side of the door, not the other side. It was so organised, so everybody knew their place in the society, and you could rise and fall, but you would always show respect. Is this? Well, that looks like almost petrified timber.
Yes, it is petrified timber.
Yeah. I've got a piece of that on my mantelpiece from America. It's pretty remarkable. It's such a nice setting.
Yeah, very nice. And it has such a nice spirit there when you're there. Really nice.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love those folding chairs. The way they're put together, I mean, it's a Chinese design, but the way they're put together is so remarkable. The joinery and everything. I once had an opportunity to buy two Ming ones.
Yes.
And the guy wanted cash, and I didn't have the cash on me. And I came back 2 days later, and he'd sold it. And I would have been sitting in one of those chairs right now if I'd been lucky.
Yeah.
So here we have very nice sculptures.
Yes.
The robe that he's wearing is based on excavated robes from Mongolian tombs.
Mm-hmm.
And the pouches and everything that are hanging from the belt, that's typical. Those horizontal lines around just above the waist going up to the just about below your just below your ribs, basically. This was a characteristic during the Mongol Empire. This was a characteristic way of decorating robes. So you would have this kind of almost a reinforcement around your belly,
Yeah.
to probably keep you warm. It was to show off that your wife or wives were really good at sewing.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something you would be
Beautiful.
proud of.
Yeah.
But also, it's
Mm.
I think in Chinese it's called braided waist. I think it's bian something, but my memory of the name of it is weak. Now that's
Look, Pete.
yeah. I was looking at that, trying to work out because it doesn't look like it's not Mongolian and it's not Pugspar. It looks like clan symbols, Tagma.
Mm. Yeah.
So that like I don't know. There is a piece of Mongolian in the bottom right hand one.
Mhm.
Sorry, DOBYD something. Um, but the ones going down the side there, they look. When I say Tagma, these were clan signs that you might have engraved on your metalwork on your belt or branded onto your horses.
Yeah.
So that would say which family you belong to, and this might be meant to. Obviously, the people that made it know what it was meant to be, but rough guess, it's showing all the different clans and their associations. It's not like, say, old Turkic runes, and runes is used advisedly. They were not related to European runes. Uh, this was an alphabet developed in the fourth or fifth century for writing down Turkish,
Yeah.
but it had, I mean, I think it had died out in Mongolia
Mm.
because the early Turkish Empire was Mongolia.
Mm.
Um, but it was still being used in Hungary up until the 14th, 15th, 16th century. I think it may have been written down in Crimea as well.
Mhm.
Uh, so with that kind of nomadic movement from east to west, a lot of things were brought along. The Mongol script that you see there,
Mm.
the central line on the bottom right-hand one,
Mm.
is a development of the Uyghur script,
Mm.
and the Uyghurs were Turkish-speaking people that set up an empire before the Mongols,
Mhm.
uh, and they learnt writing from the Nestorian Christian uh, Sogdians, who were spoke an Iranian language, and the actual letters trace back to Imperial Aramaic, which the Achaemenids spread into Central Asia. Um, and I mean, in that sense, it's kind of related. It's like a cursive form of Pahlavi,
Mm.
but the letters are more distinct. Pahlavi is the letter forms are very close to each other. You really had to know what the word was to be able to read it, because an N and a B and a whatever, they all look the same. It's like very early Arabic when they didn't have dots, and you had to be roughly know what it was going to be to work out what it is. Writing was very difficult in the old days. It hadn't occurred to anyone that you should make it easy for everybody to understand. Uh, yeah, that's I love the way they're put together. So the bands around the girs are anchored to the door frame, and then they hold the felt walls
Yeah.
tight against the lattice on the inside, and the roof um, pieces are usually kind of like a conical. No, I was going to say a conical section. That would be a parabol.
Yes.
Like parts of a cone
Yes.
flattened out, and they fit it around the roof in multiple segments. And then you have the collar on the roof,
Yeah.
which helps hold everything in place.
Yeah.
Often you could use the long pole to cover up the roof hole
Yeah.
if it got really snowy and things like that, and then just open it out again. These ones, they have a much more prominent, like tubular form for the
Yeah.
for the
Yes.
roof wheel,
Yes.
which is a very old form. So that they might be trying here to be very traditional.
Yes.
Again, you see on the band around that yurt, it looks like a tagma for a particular clan. Like there are belts in or belt fittings, like the gold fittings for belts
Yeah.
from the period of the Khanate of Jotji, which is the Golden Horde in Russia. And they have these little markings on the gold pieces to say this belongs to the imperial family. Do not steal this piece of gold. Uh, so I mean, I look. I honestly don't know whether they're just using them purely for design or they're using them to show a particular clan. So this is like an urbo,
Yeah.
a a ritual place for making offerings,
Yes.
so
Yes.
the spirits remember you.
Oh,
I
the
still,
small
they,
one. Yeah.
yeah, the bas reliefs, yeah.
But the
Although
other ones are.
they're embossed, aren't they? So
Yeah.
they're embossed from the back.
That's right.
But see, there's a long tradition of metalworking,
Yeah.
um, and it's see, it's often forgotten. I mean, in the West, you see movies about the Mongols, and often they're just dressed up Native Americans. I don't mean actual Native Americans, but they're using face paint and short sleeves and things
Yes.
because when they made the movies, they very rarely tried to find out what people were really wearing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first time there was a movie about Marco Polo in the 30s, which had more original looking costumes. Then there was the famous one with John Wayne as Chengiz Khan. Uh,
Oh God, I
and
know that one. Oh my God.
yeah, everybody got radiation poisoning from
Oh
filming it where they
God.
let
He
objects on
shouldn't
the
have
front.
done that. Yeah, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, it didn't do him any good. But weirdly enough, the costuming in that was better than most of the ones made after
God.
it. I don't know why. I mean, the book that it was based on was written by an American author too, I think. But yeah, it's. I don't know why there was such a difficulty understanding that Mongols lived in cold climates. They wore long sleeve coats and shirts and things like that because it was cold. You don't
Cold.
go around in your little sheepskin jacket with your bare arms sticking out.
No,
I mean,
not a good
but
idea.
no, I think it's this when Western people are making movies and things, they look back at ancient and they look back to ancient Greece and Rome, where everyone ran around in t-shirts, long t-shirts and sandals, because it was the Mediterranean. It was really nice. You could go for a swim in the Mediterranean any time, if you learnt to swim. So it's yeah, there's a lot of misunderstanding of Mongolian culture in the West. Bearing in mind there's not much knowledge of it at all, but what is known is misunderstanding to some extent. I see a bow case and a quiver, a
Yeah.
pair of swords,
Yeah.
which are in fact shashkas, I
Yes.
think.
I
Uh,
think there are, of course, newly made ones. Uh,
yeah, well, I mean, you've got to
yeah, they have
take what you get.
Shashka handle,
Yeah, yeah,
military issue Shashka handle. Yes.
yeah. So it's not surprising. Again, until the fairly extensive archaeology that's been done over the last 50 years,
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot of stuff around that Mongolians could look at to say, oh, I mean, except for the stuff they were still using, obviously. But things like swords and that, most of the swords they would have seen would have been Qing dynasty military swords because the Mongols produced a lot of cavalry for the Qing dynasty in China. Um, and most of the bows were Qing dynasty bows,
Yeah.
Manchu style bows, not Mongol bows, because the Manchus had told them, well, when you join the army, you've got to use the standard army equipment,
Yeah.
not what you bring from home.
Yes.
We've got two of those standard there, a black-haired one and a. Oh, actually, the they're they're actually artistic developments
Yeah, they're not
of
Shashka. I see it.
Shasta Hills. They've actually gone a step further. They put disc guards on,
They look
which
like
is
Shashka from distance. Yes.
yeah, but they've got animal head pommels,
Yeah, you're right.
which is very ancient in the Mongolian steppes, but wasn't that popular among the Mongols themselves. That rug on the wall, which is a felt rug, that decorative stitching
Mm.
was really popular in the 19th and early 20th century.
Yeah.
And if you want to see some of it, I think in Copenhagen, in the ethnographic museum there,
Mm.
they've got uh, a lot of stuff from Mongolia that
Yeah.
their expeditions brought back. The shield is very artistic.
Yeah.
I think historical, no, but artistic, yes. I mean, if you're going to put a shield on your wall, that's the one you want to do.
Mhm.
I think the feel they've got for this is really good.
Yes.
Because you look at the kind of embroidery in the background, that shield actually brings the same designs forward.
Yes.
Um, Statues of the Great Khan
Mhm.
uh, as shrines in people's gurs were not that uncommon.
Mhm.
During the Communist Republic of Mongolia, they tried to suppress all this. They tried to suppress Buddhism. Uh, they a lot of bad things happened to the monks,
Yeah.
and they confiscated all the temples and that. I think they left one or two temples in as temples because again it was the even though Mongolia was independent, there was a lot of Russian influence, and the Russians did not want a strong Mongolian state. It was a buffer between them and China, and they wanted it to stay fairly quiet. Um, but the Mongols never forgot Chengiz Khan.
Yes. Never.
Um, he was always looked up to as really the founder of the nation because obviously there were Mongols for centuries before Genghis Khan, but he actually created the nation. So, in 1,000 years old, this is how the Turks will think about it too. Um,
Yeah.
look at the beautiful
Really beautiful.
fittings in there.
Really beautiful. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's uh, weirdly enough, the structure of Gur, and again, these are modified to be stronger and to be permanent buildings. The structure of a Gur really allows for decorative approaches. Like ordinary Gurs, they would have painted the poles and they would have painted the columns and everything like that. That was a really common thing to do. The abstract designs on the doors and that these are old in design. That kind of design is very old.
Yeah.
The concept of animals twisting around and that goes back to Scythian times, and it never really died out.
I mean, just
The,
one
the,
thing for guys to understand, what is really remarkable when you go to Mongolia, they're very tall. Most of them are tall and strong men,
yes,
right? And this gentleman, very nice guy, he also trained. We trained together. He's a Mongolian wrestler, a very tall and strong guy. The reason I'm saying it, so look at the door size. That's the reason I mentioned that, right? That's
yeah.
important.
Looking at that door, you'd say they're short guys, but no. All the Mongolians I know in Australia and the ones I met in Korea when we were doing traditional archery
Yeah,
were big.
yeah,
Now, some of them were tall. Now, you had tall, skinny people and
yeah.
shorter people, but all of them had really big shoulders
Yes. Oh, yes.
because, just because you did archery didn't mean you didn't do wrestling as well, because wrestling is one of the national sports, wrestling, archery, and horse racing. And yeah, big people, lots of protein in their diet.
Yes.
You can imagine that in the old days when they went to China, uh, Chinese were largely eating a lot of grain with a small amount of meat and things like that. So generally speaking, they weren't growing as tall as they do now. Though in North China, they were always considered to be taller.
Yes.
Um, and I mean, uh, yeah, you kind of when you read Western accounts that they're talking about these short, they, they, this is from people who've never been to Mongolia, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you actually look at their facial features, it's nothing like any of the stuff you see in the West. As
Yeah.
there are certain books on military subjects that have paintings in them, and the Mongolian features are always stereotyped and
Yeah.
effectively
Always.
racist. You meet real Mongolians; they've got lots of different shaped faces.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
High cheekbones are not uncommon, but
Yes.
they're not always there. Um,
Yeah.
and you're right; they're often quite tall.
Look at
And
this.
sorry,
Look at this picture bead.
isn't it beautiful?
Yeah. You see how many beautiful inside them? Was
Yeah,
it again birds, right?
yeah, yeah. I is the bird holding an egg? I think the
Oh,
bird's holding
sorry.
an egg.
I think so, yes.
Yeah. So decorative birds on things isn't uncommon either.
Yes.
So you think in Persian of Simur.
Seymour. Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. It
yeah,
reminds me of Seymour. Yeah.
yeah. In Mongolia, well, the Chinese talk about phoenix as feng.
Yes.
Uh, um, but it is a big one.
Look at he's standing on it, Beat. Look
Yeah,
how
I think
stable it
even
is. Huh?
yeah even the regular ones. I've seen people in videos putting them up in Mongolia, and once they've got all the roof things there, they can actually stand on it and adjust things. They don't normally stand on it. When you're camping in a ger, um, one of the things they use the roof for, because the walls on a ger are only about 1.5 meters tall, and then the roof starts. What you did was that roof was where you dried your cheeses and all that kind of stuff where you wanted to dry things in the sun. That's what the roof was for. It
Yeah.
was very. I mean, if the roof was taller, it wouldn't have been as useful. But it was also tall enough to stop animals from stealing food,
Yes.
mostly.
Yeah. So it's a
Aren't
plain
these? Yeah,
beautiful.
isn't the landscape beautiful?
Beautiful, yeah. Again, so many tents there.
See,
Oh,
this
I have
that.
the dog
Oh,
here.
there's the dog. What a beautiful face it's got.
Yeah. It's a
Boy,
huge dog.
if you had
Vid,
a pet
this
dog of that,
gentleman is a wrestler. Or no, in a heavyweight
so
division.
he's a big man.
Yeah, in a heavyweight division wrestler. So
Oh,
look at
good
this
God.
guy, the dog next to him. That's what is how huge the dog is, right?
Yeah, he's a very well behaved dog.
Very. But I'm sure it can fight, right?
Oh yeah, well as I say, these were bred to keep the wolves off the sheep and the goats.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I mean, in the Caucasus they have big dogs like that too. It's herding people work out ways of protecting their herds. A similar type of dog. I think it's from Spain in the Pyrenees. They brought out to Australia and trained them to protect penguins because we have penguins that nest along the coast, and what was happening? Foxes were coming in and eating all the chicks. So they bought some of these dogs and trained them to protect penguins because they're quite intelligent. So they'd leave them out there. Fox would come along and there'd be this huge pile of fur and it'd get up and start barking at them, and the fox would just disappear into the distance. And the penguins got used to them. So everybody benefited. Like that is the most peculiar use of guard dogs I've ever heard of, but it worked.
So we go now in Ulaanbaatar and in front of the Mongolian parliament. The reason we go there is even there you can see these warriors.
Yeah,
Look at them.
yeah. These guys are well set up, aren't they?
Yes. And Chengiz Khan there as well, right?
Of course. Yeah. Well, again, the founder of the nation. I mean, the rest of the world was frightened of him, but if you were a Mongol, this is the man that put you on the map,
Yes.
got your country organized properly, and the country is still there.
Yes, still there. Yeah. Look at this.
Hmm.
Look how huge they are.
Yeah, they're enormous. I think it's good that sculptors can make a living making something that's interesting to
They're
me.
everywhere in Mongolia. Everywhere you see warriors like this. Everywhere.
Oh, it's good.
And Chengiz Khan.
Yeah. What's the? Oh well, I can read the first line, Chinggis Khan. Uh I can vaguely read the rest of it, but not very well.
Look at them, Beat. Oh, he has a mace. This guy has a mace, right?
Oh, they both got maces. If they're
Oh,
different
that's
people, or are
right.
they the same person?
Yes, flanged one.
Yeah,
Look.
maces are mentioned in the Secret History. I think. Certainly, the Mongols used them a lot. When you are reading the Secret History and reading later Mongol chronicles, it's quite clear that armor was also very popular. If you could afford it. Obviously, not everybody can afford this kind of equipment, and
Yeah.
when you were part of, say, the Imperial bodyguard, the Keshik, um, I'm pretty certain that you got issued with clothes and armor,
Yes.
and
Yes.
because, well, like in Chingiz's time, he created a state army
Yes.
and basically destroyed the tribal armies because they just caused too much trouble. So the state army became the dominant one. I doubt whether any Mongol would have ridden holding a rein in each hand. They always held the reins in the left hand. At least the bow case is well depicted, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's got a slot opening in the bottom because
Yeah.
uh, it was originally they didn't have openings in the bottom, and then when bows with recurve tips came in, they became a little bit difficult to deal with, so they started to put openings in the bottom. I've often wondered if you've got a bow case. When I made bow cases and quivers that were closed at the bottom, they were waterproof, like a water bottle. If you because to shape them, I wet the leather, and no water would leak out around the stitching. So I often wonder if you had a bow case like that and you're out in the snow and that, and snow got inside it, would it form a puddle? Whereas the ones that have the opening in the bottom, they drain.
Yeah, they train.
So I wonder if it had an extra benefit. So here's a is this one of the heroes of the revolution?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But they have,
Sukhabator,
yeah, I think so.
Sukhabatar and
Yeah.
Choi Balsam.
So that was
Oh,
it from our journey to Mongolia, Pete. I hope you
I
enjoyed
think
these pictures.
it was really interesting. I mean, I think it's great that Mongolians are getting to see their culture in museums and that, so that they realize how important it is.
Yeah.
Because, as I say, 70 years of the Mongolian People's Republic, they were forced to suppress a lot of their history. It wasn't their choice. And as far as I can tell, all the Mongols I've met are, well, most of them are interested in making a living and living their everyday life like everyone else. But they have an attachment to their past
Yes.
in a positive way, which I think is a good thing. I mean, we live in a society where everybody lives in different countries, where we're often quite detached from our own historical backgrounds. And
Yeah.
so it's good to have museums
Yes.
and libraries and things like that where you can keep in touch with your own past.
Yes. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Pete, and I wish you a nice day. And hopefully, we are going to
Thank you.
start the next journey to Russia and see different museums in Russia then.
Excellent. This is the cheapest way to travel I've ever found.
Thank you very much, Pete. Have a nice day.
Thanks a lot.